Welcome to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social, where we help you stay ahead of social media trends, share the latest news, and highlight the strategies that are working to help you grow your business. Now let's join our hosts, Tristan and Jeff, in 3, 2, 1.
So we started a new thing, episode 129, which was the previous episode. We decided that we are going to start walking people through the process of where do you get started, or how do you improve, or how do you start over in terms of using social media as your prospecting tool, maybe even your primary means of attracting business. And the first episode was about where you start. If you missed it, go back and listen to it, because we're not going to summarize it other than telling you that it's probably not what you expected. And that's where you start. It starts in it's consumption. It's simple as that. I'm going to leave it at that. It's consumption. And so carrying forward, Tristan, the next step that we identified on the last episode is now you've consumed, you've created that book report. And if you listen to it, you know what I'm talking about. But now it's identifying your audience. So how do you articulate that?
You would think that you'd think of the audience first, but you don't. You think first, what are you great at more so than most people? Or what do I have access to that most people don't, right? And then you can turn that around and offer that in the form of social. Jeff, I'm going to you. You're not necessarily great at one thing for what I'm about to say, but you have access to a place that other people love, and you just turn it around and give us information about it, whether it's boats, the area, toys, anything. It's like you're just talking about it.
Where's the best place to go see fall foliage? That was my video yesterday.
Yeah, it was your video.
No joke, man. And it's that's like how much we're overthinking this stuff. It's like, it's that time of year. It's what people are doing. They're driving around. They want to see beautiful settings of colors.
Yeah. Well, we got there though by first
identifying
out whatever you thought you needed to based on what you were great at. And one of the things was you had this opportunity to talk about the place that you visit. That's what we have to do. And a lot of people think it's the opposite. It's like, well, who do I want to target? And I'll start with that. Not necessarily, because what are you great at first that people want to hear that you're maybe better than everybody else at? Or like I live in Malibu and I should be going and doing Malibu stuff like I did before, because a lot of people want to see that shit, right? So that's the nuance. And then from there, then we can do what everyone tells you, which is you put enough of those videos out there, and then people will gravitate to the right topics, the right videos. You just have to be paying attention. That's all.
And you bring up, and it's interesting because as I think most people in our industry, which is real estate, think about establishing that audience. Everyone gravitates quickly towards buyers and sellers, homeowners, right? And that immediately leads you down the wrong path. And I get why you think that way, but by thinking that way, now you immediately then shift into spam mode, aka selling mode. And no one turns on television, the radio, opens up their phone. Nobody gets on social because they want to be sold to ever. They don't answer their phone because they want to be sold to. That's why do not call lists exist. And so understanding what Tristan is saying here does not mean my target audience who I want to sell to. It's your target audience who you're going to connect with, who ultimately will want to buy from you. Yeah. And so as I say that, what does that mean to you? Like you as an individual, as a human being, what does that mean? Now, how do you connect with people?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you.
I think it comes down to a simple phrase. People, and it's not my phrase, by the way, this is Seth Godin's. He says, people like this do things like this, right? And I think you are a great example with this. Hey, look, I live in the Ozarks, or I'm here quite often, and check it out, right? You even know, dude, you've hacked it because you know exactly what people love. So people like this do things like this. You even tell me that.
Yeah.
So I think we have to find out and say, well, I'm great at this. I guess I'm only going to attract people that really can connect with me based on how I do this. What is that? If it's real estate, great. What are you amazing at that you can teach others and show people? If it's a community, amazing. If it's neither of those and it's like your buddy, Jeff, that does gardening, what was it? Tomatoes and all
Tomatoes,
that?
yeah.
Yeah. Who can't relate with that loves gardening, right? Or if it's your pet or whatever it is,
Pickleball.
the idea. Pickleball, dude, especially right now.
Yeah.
Like the idea is just identifying who these people are based on you just putting yourself out there more and saying, hey, I do things like this. This is who I am. This is where I live. And being comfortable that you're going to alienate a lot of people, but you're going to collect the people, the niche that you want. Like, dude, how many people care about the Ozarks if they hate the Ozarks?
Right.
It's only the people that love it.
Those people like to troll me.
That's true also.
But either way, I'm winning. And I think, I'll even simplify it even more, because like what you just described, and the first thing you said was real estate, which I want to be very clear, like what we do as real estate agents isn't really very differentiating from one to the next. How we market properties, how we put a sign in a yard, how we put it on the MLS, it's all the same. And therefore that's why it's very hard to differentiate. But maybe you're a parent and you've raised kids, and how you do things, like we're overthinking this stuff. And that's why I always tell people, like, when you think of yourself as an authority of a topic, I'm like, have you ever raised kids? Yeah. Then you're an authority. Well, you don't think of yourself as an authority, but you are, because we all have different styles of doing things. I know the way you interact with your kids versus the way I interact with my kids is very different. Neither wrong, neither right. It's our way. And so when you start to talk about and share that kind of stuff within your life, you're going to get people that will connect with you because they agree with you or they learn from you. And I think we're overthinking, do you spend a lot of time? Is one of your passions cooking? Share your cooking. That's what people will connect with. And so stop overthinking. So when you go back to this original topic, who's my audience? It's not that you're trying to sell, a baking sheet or a recipe or, a book about raising kids. You're trying to connect with people. And ultimately, a good portion of those people will end up potentially being customers. And it's the same thing with Tristan when you talk about community. I tell people all the time, I get calls, Tristan, this, from local businesses now at the Ozarks, because it's my influence is growing. Hey, how much would you charge me to come highlight my business? And I'm like, maybe at some point I will, but I'm like, nothing, man. I mean, like, I do this for the community. So that makes them feel good. But here's the thing, like, I think some people think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, this business owner probably is a homeowner or is a prospective homeowner. And now I just created a bond with them. And now it's my job to stay in touch with them, follow up with them. But guess what they're also going to do? Share my interview with their audience. And it's just going to grow my SOI and my sphere. And like, we all just want that quick fix, the quick sale. And this is a long game, but if you play the game right, boy, does it work.
That's it, man. You play the game right, meaning you make sure that, like what you said, you make sure that you do you, because some people are calling you crazy because they can't relate with you approaching this the way you're approaching it. But you and I actually understand that very well. Like, I would 100% agree with you, but you and I are very similar, right? So I'm going to share, and I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to share my screen. Those people that are not watching cannot see this, but I just sent you, Jeff and CK, I sent you this presentation by Seth. I knew I had it, so I found it. But it says, I'm just going to read a few sentences. It says, for most of us, from the first day we're able to remember until the last day we breathe, our actions are primarily driven by one question. Do people like me do things like this? People like me don't cheat on their taxes. People like me own a car. We don't take the bus. People like me have a full-time job. People like me want to see the new James Bond movie, and so forth and so forth. And I think we miss the simplicity of this because the more we showcase our authenticity, the more we showcase, Jeff, how you show up, people like me means you're going to collect more people like you, and you create this culture and community, which a lot of people don't realize that that's what we need to do. That's why I love that one, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
I like that. So look, in closing, and then you tell me what you think, but in closing, for this specific thing as the next thing, finding your audience, I think identify what you're amazing at or what opportunity you have to share something that other people would want to see. And then put that out there and then start niching down from there. Mm-hmm. Don't start with the opposite. Jeff, what do you think?
I love it. Yeah, I think that leads us to the next episode, which we're going to start probably getting a lot more into content. And now what do I produce? How do I produce it? And we're really going to break this down in layers. And, we'll get so deep as even showing editing and showing how Tristan uses the GIFs from CapCut, and things like that. That's going to be down the road a little ways because we definitely want to take this one step at a time. But you're right. I think the next step now is now, what do I talk about and how often? What is my cadence?
How often, I think. So if I've decided, Jeff, that I often go to the Ozarks, then how often? First, it's how often so that I can create a cadence, because then it eventually becomes like you. That's good. That's good. Oh shit! I'm just gonna leave my camera on the whole day. Just turn it on. Be like, oh, that's good. That's good. And then you have too much. And you're like, what did I put out there?
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Yeah.
So there you go, man. I love this one.
Yeah, agreed. Well, hopefully y'all are following along. We started this on 129. This is 130, and we're going to continue down the road. So stay tuned for 131, and we're going to keep teaching, and we're back to the basics, my friend.
Thanks for listening to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social. We are here to help you take your business to new levels through social media. Make sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes and come join us on our Drunk on Social Facebook page. And as always, make sure you leave us a great review on your favorite podcast app. Feedback and likes are very much appreciated.